What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. And I wouldn't be Ego if I didn't rant from time to time when I get mad, when I get pissed. And this is one of those times because, as a longtime boxing fan and fanatic with you guys, I feel we're getting the raw deal. You know what I'm saying? We're getting fucked over as fans. Now, I had to make this video, and there's two words: Al Haymon. I don't know what it is, but it's like continually this year particularly. Other years it's suitable. Well, not suitable. There was other things, but there were other great fights being made, like Mayweather Canelo last year, and then also Danny Garcia versus Lucas Matisse. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Even if something else happened last year, like let's say Kell Brook was supposed to fight Devin Alexander and it never happened, then there were other things in place that kind of made up. It was a good substitute. You know what I mean? I forgot all about Kell Brook and Devin Alexander fighting when they announced Mayweather Canelo and Danny Garcia Lucas Matisse. So he had more of an alibi. You know what I'm saying? But people using that, it doesn't make sense because boxing is a sport of what have you done for me lately, and Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia, they both fought. Lucas Matisse fought like twice since then. Danny Garcia probably fought twice since then as well. And that was a long time ago that we were getting those fights. Lucas Matisse and Lamont Peterson and shit like that. So I'm talking about 2014. What has Al Haymon given us? A plate of fucking shit. Danny Garcia, Rod Salka. Who asked for that? I know I didn't. I didn't just get on these videos talking about, you know who I want to see Danny Garcia face? Rod fucking Salka. That's who. You didn't hear that. You've never heard. I've never even had anyone come to my channel before the fight was announced claiming that bullshit or saying they wanted that fight. So that's one thing. Danny Garcia, to me, that was the worst mismatch of 2014. The worst. You could talk about Pac, Algieri. There are angles to that make it competitive. I still think Pacquiao should fight a true welterweight, but you can even try to justify that as being a good fight. Danny Garcia, Rod Salka, you can't. There's nothing you could say, at least to me, that will make me believe that that was ever a great fight. You know what I'm saying? It was a mismatch. The results showed you it was a mismatch. When's the last time Danny Garcia knocked someone out in 2 rounds? You know what I'm saying? And then you get it's getting utterly fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? You had Lamont Peterson on the same card fighting a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Like some Puerto Rican drug dealer who was inactive. Like, what the fuck? Like, where? Why? Why is he fighting a drug dealer? You know what I mean? Huh? Okay. I'll take the fight, man. Like, it made no sense, man. And we're getting fed bullshit. Now, the reason I'm even talking about this right now, sorry for the whole preamble. Deontay Wilder, Bermane Stiverne, that is a fight I really truly want to see. I mentioned and made a video a little while back saying the heavyweight division is starting to become popping. I want to see it. I want to see a lot of different matches. You got guys like Anthony Joshua. You got guys like that big ass Chinese dude that I told y'all about who fought in San Francisco. You got Deontay Wilder, Bermane Stiverne. You got Chris Arreola, kind of a veteran. You got Bryant Jennings, Mike Perez, Klitschko's, of course. You got some interesting characters, Andy Ruiz. There's different guys that you can mix and match, and they would make perhaps some pretty good, interesting matches. You know what I'm saying? And one of those is Bermane Stiverne and Deontay Wilder. And it looked like this was on track to happen one way or other. And all of a sudden, it was supposed to go to a purse bid. Al Haymon, some kind of way, just knowing the loopholes and whatnot, gets an extension on it. So let me explain to you guys how it exactly works. When there's a mandatory fight, a fight that's supposed to happen, like a sanctioned fight or whatever for a belt, like Robert Guerrero and Mayweather. Robert Guerrero was Mayweather's mandatory at a point. He had the interim belt. Mayweather was a champion. That fight needs to happen. So basically, when there's a mandatory challenger to a belt, they have a certain amount of time, a deadline, if you will, to make it happen for both camps, like Mayweather and Guerrero's camp, to come to terms, come to grips with an actual arrangement, a fair working contract and everything, and hash it out. If that does not happen, then it is going to a purse bid, which means the fight is then auctioned off, basically, and the highest bidder gets it, And then depending on the stature of the fighter, like usually if one fighter is a champion, the other one's not. They usually, I don't know the exact figure. I think it's like maybe 75% goes to the actual champion, and then the rest goes to the challenger or whatever. But that part is neither here nor there. Bottom line, if you can't work out a contract by the deadline, it goes to a purse bid. From that purse bid, someone else auctions on it, and then they, come up with the site and divvy up the money. Now, Al Heyman, based on Al Heyman's influence, that's not happening. They got some kind of extension, so it's just to be announced. We don't even know. This is a fight I want to see, keep in mind. Deontay Wilder, Bermane Stiverne. This is a good test for both of them to see where they really truly are. And based on the Al Heyman influence, some more bullshit. And I'm getting sick of it. Before that, so we talked about Rod Salka and Lamont Peterson versus a drug dealer. Then we had Peter Quillen, who was or is an undefeated champion at the time. He was a champion. That's why I said was. He was a champion. And that fight went to a purse bid. Jay-Z, who is new to the boxing industry, but he's not new to the music industry, an industry Al Heyman just came from, the music industry. Jay-Z had purchased the fight. He's like, okay, I'm doing my thing in Brooklyn with the Barclays, and I'm into the boxing with Rock Nation Promotions. I want to get this. This is a good vehicle for my first entrance to the boxing world. And they were supposed to have Peter Quillen, who represents Brooklyn. He's not technically from Brooklyn, but he represents it or whatever. That's his current home or whatnot. And Korobov. And that was a good fight. Interesting fight. Different variables. That would have been a good fight for Rock Nation to promote. You know what I mean? You got a guy who's representing Brooklyn. And long story short, Al Heyman whispered in Peter Quillen's ear and told him to relinquish his belt out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Just give up your belt. Now he gave up his belt. He's no longer a fucking champion. Why? Like, you know what I mean? Why did Peter Quillen... It just looks like you're ducking. You're ducking Korobov. It looks like you're ducking Gennady Golovkin. Why the fuck would a fighter bust their ass training camp after training camp, making weight, taking punches? You know what I mean? Because Quillen's had some tough moments where he, you know what I mean, where it looked like the Hassan Nadam fight, that wasn't an easy fight for him. I mean, no fight's necessarily easy. You know what I'm saying? And you mean to tell me after a fighter works so hard to achieve a certain thing, then all of a sudden they just give it up for no reason? Like, it'd be one thing if Peter Quillen said, yo, I'm retiring. I want to spend time with my newborn. That's one thing. But who just gives up a belt? Like, you know what I'm saying? If I have some, you gotta pry it from my dead hands. You ain't just gonna take it from me easily. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it don't matter what if it's a stick of gum. You're not going to just take it from me. You're not going to just snatch it from me. So you think I would just relinquish a belt? Like, oh, you know what? I worked hard for this, and I put my whole life into getting these championship level fights. But you know what? I don't even want it anymore. It doesn't make sense. And then on top of that, you got Deontay Wilder and Bermane Stiverne. A good fight where the audience is parted. Some people think Bermane Stiverne's too slick, has a better chin. Some people think Deontay Wilder has crazy power. He has the height and reach advantage. So they think he'll win. There's a lot of different ways you could interpret that particular fight. That's why I want to see it. If it was a fight that I could just easily call, then, you know what I mean, I wouldn't care as much. But this is a competitive fight, a good fight, and both fighters have earned their spot to be in this mandatory position where it's supposed to go down. But due to Al Heyman, we're not getting that. We have to wait. And I don't know what we're supposedly waiting for. And it's just, man, it's getting ridiculous. Like I said, I can't hold my hat on Al Heyman put together Lucas Matisse and Danny Garcia. Steven Espinoza and them dudes, they'll tell you that. They'll tell you like, oh, but Al Heyman did this and that. True, he did do that. He helped and aided in that. But what has he done for boxing lately? You know what I'm saying? What is the great matchup that he's put into position? You know what I mean? Even the fight with like Emmanuel Taylor and Broner, it was a good fight. It turned out to be a good competitive fight. But the fans wanted Amir Khan and Broner, or Broner versus Lucas Matisse, or even John Molina at the time, because John Molina, that was before Humberto Soto beat him, and he had made a diss track for him. But no, we didn't get that. We had to see Broner versus the little known Emmanuel Taylor. Like I said, it turned out to be a good fight and an interesting fight, but that's not the fans' choice. You know what I mean? Because we don't have anything else to go off but what we've seen, and we did see the Broner Emmanuel Taylor. But let's say Lucas Matisse and Broner, if they fought, that could have been even more exciting than the Emmanuel Taylor fight. We don't know because they didn't make the fight. Same thing with John Molina or Khan. You know what I mean? Those could have been a Stars Born type of fight, but we're getting robbed as fans of those types of fights, and it's sickening, man. As a like I said, as a longtime boxing fan, to have to endure this. Not just me, but the fans, the people on my channel. You guys leave great comments about, oh, I want to see this fight and this fight, Pacquiao Mayweather. I want to see Deontay Wilder, Bermane Stiverne, and we just have to sit and hope and hope. And some of you guys might be like, oh, all you do is rant. That's not all I do, but I'm a vocal person. And if there is something that pisses me off, I'm going to speak on it. That's just how I am. And I have the outlet to do it, so fuck it. And really the reason I'm mad is because I'm a passionate fan, because I care. I care about the direction that this sport heads. And I want to see the best available fights. And I also know my history. I know the history of boxing, and I know it to the point where if you got guys like Lennox Lewis, who was supposed to fight Riddick Bowe, like that's a fight that everyone wanted to see at the time. They fought in the amateurs, and people wanted to see it when they were both considered in their prime, and we never got it. You know what I'm saying? Or we got Lennox Lewis Tyson, but a lot of people think Tyson was not the same Tyson from the 80s. You know what I mean? Or more recently, Juanma Lopez versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. They both got knocked out in their last fight. Who wants to see that right now? You know what I'm saying? It just, in its prime, that could have been a hell of a fight. I really wanted to see Juanma Lopez and Gamboa. You know what I mean? A strong Puerto Rican, a strong Cuban. Do I want to see that shit now? Fuck no. There's no point. There's no point. And that's how boxing is. Some of these fighters, you know what I mean? One fight could put 10 years on your career. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the nature of the beast. That's boxing. You know what I mean? Mike Alvarado, if you guys don't remember, he's not too far removed from being undefeated. But now people view him as like, who is this? This dude ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But he was just undefeated. Now he's considered a has-been in the sport of boxing, or not that good. You know what I'm saying? But he was just undefeated. And that's what boxing is. That's why I want to see Bermane Stiverne and Deontay Wilder when it's important, when it needs to happen. Because at the end of the day, nothing's given. You know what I'm saying? They could have had Deontay Wilder and Gavern, and because you underestimated a dumbass opponent and you get knocked out or something. Now the Bermane Stiverne fight doesn't even need to happen, and it happens time and time again. So hopefully they get it right with like other big fights, Canelo and Cotto, with Canelo moving back to HBO and stuff like that. Make the fucking fight. We wanted to see it last year. You had even longer to let the Canelo Cotto fight brew. Make the fight. You know what I mean? Pacquiao Mayweather, make the fight. We've been waiting years. And that's what this all boils down to. And I think Al Haymon has been very poisonous this year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to shit on him. I don't know him as a person. I'm just speaking my mind, venting. And that's what I do on my channel. Let me know what you guys think of Al Haymon and his influence in boxing. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.